Now, the reason I will present this news is because I am sick and tired of seeing people that are smug and they act like they're intelligent. For example, they will come up to your Facebook page and they will say, 56% of Americans don't agree with Arabic numerals being taught in school. Oh, look what bigoted the Americans are. They are very bigoted. Look at the bigotry. Bigotry. It's almost like they learned a new word and they love using it. So I see this done constantly. You have the science doing a poll, and then you have the activist interpreting the poll. And his interpretation have nothing to do with the experiment or the question asked. But if you disagree with his interpretation, then you are anti-science. You're a bigot. Bigotry. So why are people against children learning Arabic numerals? Is it because they are bigot? Well, we don't know. The experiment doesn't really say why they don't want you to know. For example, maybe they are very progressive parents who believe that it's not okay to have cultural appropriation because Arabic numerals belong to Arabia and you can't just take it away from them. You can't just appropriate what they have into your culture because that is racist. So maybe you have a lot of anti-racist parents who don't want cultural appropriation. I mean, it's America that we're talking about, where if you have dreads as a white person, you can get harassed at the university. If you happen to be a couple of girls who go to Mexico and they learn how to make burritos, and then you go to a very progressive city like Portland, you may be harassed by other white liberals who are anti-racist and they're accusing you of cultural appropriation. So maybe this is it. You know, maybe it's the ideology in the United States where cultural appropriation is wrong. It has the name Arabic. Like, oh, how can we take it away from them? We can't take their culture. All jokes aside, though, I also think it's the way the question was asked. The way the question was asked is, should kids be forced to learn Arabic numerals? And the concept of forcing someone to do something is usually a thing that liberals don't like. Now, obviously, what the problem is that most people don't know what Arabic numerals are. And it does seem to be human nature, because I see this happen in Romania, and it's happening in the United States, and it's happening everywhere around the world, where some people, in fact, the overwhelming majority, choose to give an answer to something that they don't know, rather to ask for clarification or just admit they don't know what is being talked about. So in the case with Arabic numerals, instead of people asking, like, hold on a little bit, what are Arabic numerals? Instead, they choose to just say, well, no, of course not. People shouldn't be forced. Don't force people. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the funny thing is that even progressives don't know what Arabic numerals are. Because if you look here, you can see how everything evolved. And in reality, there is no such thing as cultural appropriation. You can imagine culture as building a house. You have a foundation which can come from a different culture, and then you build up on it. So in the case of the numbers we use, which are very different than the numbers the Roman Empire used, it comes from Indians, right? So the Hindu culture came up with the concept of decimal numbers, which was then adopted by Western Arabians and Eastern Arabians. And as you can see, while the numbers are similar to what we use today, they're not the same numbers, because they actually go through more transformations until we actually reach something like 16th century, which gets close to what we use today. So even like the numbers we use today aren't Arabian numbers. I mean, we call them like that as an homage, if you will. Like you're paying homage to the culture that solidified the concept, but they're still different. So yeah, you know, I don't think kids should be forced to learn this in school, because it would be useless and it would confuse them. But I want to show you something else about the smug liberal. Because the liberals, you know, they go on and they keep showing this. It's like, should schools in America be forced to teach Arabic numerals? Oh, look at the bigots. Oh, the bigotry. Oh, look how dumb conservatives are. They are so stupid and uneducated. I like the smart liberal who has access to wisdom and intelligence. Look here, you bigot. Poll, asking people from the United States. Should schools in America teach the creation theory of Catholic priest Georges Lemaitre as part of their science curriculum? 53% of people say no. Yeah. So instead of asking, okay, well, what does Georges Lemaitre have to say about the creation of the universe, they're like, oh my god, Catholic priest. Georges Lemaitre came with the concept that the universe is constantly expanding, which is the foundation of the Big Bang Theory, because in the enlightened mind of the liberal, the idea that the churches were, for quite a significant part of human history, the place of learning and education, they don't understand that. They think the churches are the place of bigotry, of bigots. By the way, do you know what Charles Darwin was and his affiliation with the church? Probably not. You know, communists didn't like Charles Darwin either. So, oh my god, the church, superstition, Lysenkoism, much better. Now, the reason I'm saying this is not to just, dab on the libs. It's also to point out how they constantly act smug and they think they're scientific by misrepresenting data. So the data is legit. Some people were indeed asked, do you think that children should be forced to learn Arabic numerals? And most people don't know what Arabic numerals are, so they probably thought, okay, so like forcing them to learn Cyrillic. I mean, I don't have anything against people learning Cyrillic, but should they be forced? And should they do this in school? I mean, can't they do it in their free time or at the university or take special courses in their private time, right? But no, it must be that they're bigots. Bigot. Bigot. Secondly, who else do we compare America with, right? So 56% of people don't want Arabic numerals to be taught. Okay. What is the percentage in Mexico? What is the percentage in Eastern Europe? Like, maybe by comparison, if you look at Eastern Europe and it's like 95% and Mexico would be 87%, America would be incredibly open-minded by that logic, right? Because you need context. Like, who do you compare it with? And finally, why are you blaming people? Shouldn't you be blaming the teachers? The teacher, oh no, the teachers are enlightened. Oh yes, because the teachers are leftists. It does make sense for the teachers to be leftists because the teachers work for the government. They want big government. Big, to get money from the taxpayer and then to give it to the teacher, to empower the teacher. Yes. So the teachers aren't to blame, right? It's the evil conservatives, the bigoted conservatives. It's not the teacher who fails to explain to students that, by the way, these are Arabic numerals, and by the way, Arabic numerals doesn't mean what you think it means. It's not really the numbers we're using. They are called Arabic numerals, but it's not the same as the original Arabic numerals. And there's many offshoots of Arabic numerals. Right. Yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.